Alright, so I'm here. I got Miss Minnie sitting shotgun. We're heading down to meet a friend. We're going to go walk our dogs together. And I just want to talk about a lot. Got a long drive, there's a lot of traffic. But I want to just talk about the essence of it all. I mean, literally I tell people, and this has been for a long time, when I first started even putting content out, that if you just follow what I say in my videos and my podcasts and my show, the Untrainables, if you're just consistent about it and are willing to, sincerely do it, where you're giving the dog that energy of intention, where it's not just going through the motions, or you're not being clear, and you're not doing it, and you're doing it long enough to get through whether it be an issue or trying to raise your puppy properly, you can have a good, happy dog too. And I'm not claiming to be like, whatever, these people who win trophies and titles. I don't do that. I can train my dog. You see videos. I know how to make my dog do tricks and all that cool stuff. But reality is I'm a problem behavior specialist, and I'm a guy who can teach you how to raise your dog properly so you have happy, content animals living in your home, right? But it is by having a certain perception of it, especially for dogs, that can be a little more challenging, and that's based on the breed or the personality type of the history that dog has experienced. I'm gonna get a drink here. I am thirsty. I talk a lot. I get dry mouth, and it's hard for me to keep going here. Spin Drifter. The pineapple is crazy. I've never tasted something so good that I don't feel guilty drinking. I like pineapple very much, and it's got you can see the little juice in it, right? Anyway, ADD, stay on track. It is just having a certain intention with your dog, right? If it's a puppy, it's making sure that they're not getting too much freedom too soon. You're scheduling their potty breaks, you're using the crate, you're putting the leash on, you're using place training, you're giving them intermittent exercise so that in between, when they're structured in the home, they can be more relaxed and calm and not zipping all about. If it's a dog with problem issues where they are treating everyday life experiences as if that life is going to end, right? Otherwise they wouldn't. They're an animal. They can portal to that space very quickly, the fight or flight, the life or death mechanism. Even though we know that's not real, it doesn't matter what's real to us. It's their experience. We have to regard, and our training has to reciprocate that. A preemptive strategy. Someone's coming to the home. We're going on a walk. My dog is following me all over the house, and my dog now has separation anxiety, reactivity. My dog is biting people. We got to create leadership, because my dog is being used as an emotional crutch for me, and not as, seeing it as the dog that it is, and having what really people did was use the dogs. I know that word sounds horrible, but use the dogs to suit their needs, and they took care of the basics, barely. And the dogs are probably happier, even though they weren't getting as good a creature comforts. And my take is, give them the creature comforts, but give them also structure, leadership, and if your dog is requiring it, implement the training that's needed. Communicate. Do it specifically to how their brain receives information. Take time to understand learning theory and how dogs' instincts are. Read books. Listen to your trainer when they tell you what to do. It all will work, but you got to put time in. You got to be patient. And actually, with dogs, it's pretty straightforward, because over time you can usually resolve an issue or raise a puppy, even a difficult puppy, so that the rest of their life they've got good life skills, or just get it in the very worst case. You can get it where you have management of the situations, as long as it's safe. So your dog isn't going to be able to play with other dogs, but you can get it where they're walking at your side without reacting on a leash. You can get near dogs without an incident, right? In most cases, you can get much more improved than that. But reality is that with the effort and some patience and time, and I'm talking about months, not like years. I have a daughter on the autism spectrum. She's 19. She's doing things on her own now, but it was years, and she still is always going to have autism. It's just to what degree can she be self-sufficient, and that's what I worked on mostly, is those ability to cope with life, even though she does struggle to this day at 19, when she was a little kid at 2, so that, because I knew, right, and it was doing work. It wasn't love, warm, and fuzzy. I'll tell you, parenting a child on the spectrum, or any child, shouldn't be just fun and feeling it all the time. If it feels good, something's going on, or you're hiring a lot of people to help you, and there's going to be issues on, because of that down the road, in its own right. So, with all that said, you got to put the time in. I'm not going to give you specific lessons. I have podcasts. I'm writing books on these things about different subjects, but there's lots of trainers that will teach you. But it's pretty straightforward. A lot of it is just lure and reward, teach with treats, Be consistent about what's expected. Teach before the problem happens so you create a new response to the situation you're struggling with or the behavior. Phase out of treats and correct, and then when the improvement happens, you can treat or just give them their life's needs or regards or physical praise. Right? I know I'm speeding it up here, but how long do you want to listen to me rattle about this, right? But it is. It's not that straight. That's why I get on my clients. That's why if you're a client listening to this, that's why sometimes I'll push you. Sometimes you don't like it, but the reality is you just got to do it. And it's not like, oh, I got my car up on blocks in the garage. Well, we wanted to do it in 6 months, but it's been 6 years. We'll get around to that old Volkswagen. Sure, because it's a car. It sits inanimate in between times that you're interacting with it. A dog is constantly getting and giving feedback because they're the only animal species that lives in this intimate way in the same shared space, serving each other. But sometimes our needs are getting met more than theirs.